Live. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. We got Judy B in the house. Drewski. What about healthcare? We got Jay Silverback. Jay Silverback. You should be called Goldback, Jay. People say, "Oh man, gold is more valuable than silver." We should call you Jay Bronzeback. Appreciate y'all being here. Appreciate y'all being here for sure. So remember, we're on Twitter, X. We're on Facebook at Paul Francis, St. Paul. We're on both my YouTube channels. So the vast majority of people are usually on my Heritage Wealth Planning channel, whereas a few will be on the Josh Scanlon YouTube channel. Nothing says you can't be on both, my friends. Nothing says you can't be on both. I get that sweet, sweet YouTube money. Actually, I don't get any money from live streams. YouTube doesn't pay anything for live streams. I will tell you, it's very interesting watching my when I stopped doing live streams. My channel was going down in terms of I wasn't getting nearly as many views, and I started doing live streams again, and I started getting more views. I think, oh, how ironic! Yeah, Harry's in the house. Right on, Harry. What's up, man? Look at Harry crushing. Hey, West Virginia Taco. Haven't seen you around these parts for a while. Look at Ted crushing. Kirk, Don. So we got bad news. Old Dustin texted me not too long ago. He can't join it because one of his clients died, and the wife needs help organizing the estate. All right, so appreciate it. So if you guys want to jump off now, Dustin will not be here because one of his clients died, and he's going to help the spouse organize the estate, which is never fun, which is very ironic because we had a death in our family as well. My wife's niece's husband died, and we're going to have to say some prayers for people because death is it's not a good thing. You know what I'm saying? So suddenly, and these things are it's just sad when people die. So let's say prayers here. Heavenly Father, we just pray for those souls that have passed away. We pray for them to be in your glory for eternity. We pray for those left behind to just know that they are loved, that we love them. We're praying for them. We feel for their sorrow, for the loss of the loved one. We feel for the children surviving, the grandchildren surviving, all the people surviving. We just pray for those people who are right now just in shock and sorrow. Just look out for them, Lord. They need you now more than ever. Please send your Holy Spirit to pierce their heart and say it's going to be okay because their loved ones are with you right now in everlasting glory. We pray in Jesus' name, amen. So it's obviously I wanted Dustin on here tonight, you know what I'm saying? But what am I going to do? It's like, Dustin, you let me down. How dare you? And it's okay. So I don't really have anything planned. I mean, whatever you guys want to talk about, it's just one of the things I do want to say is, I deal with a lot of this deaths and tragedy and all that stuff, and just the clients I've talked to. This is usually I mean, you just hear this. I mean, I talk to a lot of people, man. 2 people a day, basically. For my whole career, essentially. I mean, hell, when I was at Vanguard, is 150 people a day. But in terms of what I've been doing for the last 15 years or so, in terms of just real one-on-one financial planning, 2 to 3 people a day, and you hear an awful lot of stories, man. Awful lot of stories. And hey, Jeremy, hey, right on. Jeremy's on LinkedIn, man. We are still. Look at Jeremy, looking sharp, Jeremy. Look at you. Look at that Mainer showing up there. But we deal. So the stories are legion. How many stories you've heard, and just you got to get your estate documents in order. You got to make sure you have beneficiaries. You've got to make sure you got beneficiaries. And I don't know what's going on with Dustin's client. I don't know how old this lady. I don't know anything. Uh-oh. We got a troublemaker. You coming in? You want to say hi? Come up and say hi to everybody. Come on. There he is. Oh yeah. Give me the antibodies. Coronavirus. There he is. Pablo's sitting on Charlotte's lap. We can talk about retirement. We can talk about retirement on 8/16. Look at Ted, retired last week. That's awesome, Ted. But you got to get your beneficiary stuff in order, man. You got to get your estate planning done. You can't have your surviving spouse who's not prepared, especially a lot of women aren't women surviving spouses. I mean, look, I'd say about a third of my clients, the woman is a financial person. 2/3 of my clients, the husband's a financial person. So this goes both ways, but generally speaking, it's the lady who's just caught on, just like Charlotte. She'd be like, "What?" Caught her pants down essentially, and you can't have that, man. So you got to do whatever you can to make sure that your surviving spouse is well taken care of. Because if you got, things that, I mean, the mortgage doesn't stop. The mortgage still wants their money. You know what I'm saying? The IRS still wants their money. The bill can't let this stuff go to an estate, i.e., I don't have a beneficiary, so it just goes to the state. Especially some states, half it transfers to the spouse, surviving spouse, but half goes to the kids. I mean, it could be 2/3, a third. Every state is different. So you just can't have this. You got to have a will that says explicitly, we call these I love you wills. I leave everything to Charlotte. Charlotte leaves everything to me. At the death, it goes to our kids, quarter, 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 quarter. Basic, simple, I love you wills. But at least the probate courts knows exactly what my intention is. My intention is to say Charlotte is my executrix. I'm her executor. At my death or demise, I go down, or she goes down to the county courthouse with the will in hand. It goes, okay, and they look at it. It doesn't happen overnight. There's fees involved. I don't know what the full county fee is, probably $100,000 $1 million. But at the end of the day, at least it's a direction that says, okay, this is what the decedent said, and we're going to follow what the decedent said because that's what his document stated very explicitly. If you don't have that documentation, then the court's going to make an estate plan for you, and the estate plan is going to be whatever the law is. And then it's got to be settled, and it doesn't happen overnight, that's for sure. So let's say you had a life insurance policy, for instance, and you didn't name a beneficiary. Well, it goes to the estate. And the estate is what? It's going to be probate. That's the whole thing about probate. It probates the assets in the estate. And so now the estate's got to figure it out. How long does that take, man? How long does that take? It's this doesn't happen overnight. You see what I'm saying? So you got to have this stuff done. And if you don't have it done, then your wife is sitting there like, I got a mortgage to pay. I got this, just the wrong answer. And you got to get this stuff done, man. It's just no excuse not to have beneficiary designations. Part two of this, make sure you have alternative executors. Yeah, 100%. Simultaneous death causes. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Jill. So just as I said, you guys can all jump off now because Dustin won't be joining us. One of his clients died, and he's got to help her with the settling of his estate. But you got to have this stuff in order. Who takes care of me if I'm incapacitated? What happens at my death? All right, so incapacitated would be, living will, for instance. A living will is just when to pull the plug. Healthcare directive. Power of attorney, ideally should be durable in my opinion, but I'll leave that up to you and your attorney, because durable just means it's a power of attorney that survives incapacity. A general power of attorney stops at incapacity. A durable survives incapacity. But unfortunately, in my opinion, not practicing law, said that a lot of attorneys will draw up, in my experience dealing with these estate planning attorneys, will draw up a durable power of attorney that doesn't actually that doesn't come into effective until incapacity. So essentially, you have to be incapacitated for your power of attorney to come into being. So who determines if you're incapacitated? Well, it's a doctor. Does a doctor want to go on record necessarily with a guy he doesn't really know and say he's incapacitated? Why? No, not necessarily. How long does it take to get the doctor to look at your husband and say, oh man, he's got Alzheimer's? The doctor's like, okay, you're going to go through a primary care physician first. And primary care physician's like, this isn't my line of work. You got to make sure that all that stuff's done in advance. So you got to make sure you got your durable power of attorney. Healthcare directives are pretty cut and dry. Living will is pretty cut and dry. It's just when to pull the plug. You got to make sure that your estate is established explicitly. Who gets money and who takes care of that and when and how. So who gets my money and who manages it to make sure my money goes to the proper people. In this case, it's Charlotte, and in my case, it's her. Hey, Marsh. And it's no joke, man. Because we don't know. Like I was looking up a guy I used to play baseball with. I was really good friends with this guy when in high school. And I said, whatever happened to that guy? It's just between sets when I was down in the basement the other day. So I looked him up, and he was 40 years old, and he fell off a roof and killed him. Got killed. You know what I'm saying? And not a good thing. You know what I'm saying? And he wasn't married or anything, but just he was up on the roof, fell and died. If he had kids, wife and kids, and he's like, I'm only 40. I don't have to worry about anything. I'm not dying. People die all the time. There's like, just for instance, there's 49,000 suicides a year in the United States. 49,000. 49,000. So not all these people are over the age of 65. I guarantee a good, I don't know about the majority, but certainly as large number is under the age of 65, i.e. they're still, building their assets up, still working, all that stuff, and still got probably kids and all that. And I don't know the numbers on how many people under the age of 65 are killing themselves, but I guarantee a large amount of people die from suicide just from having and haven't had their estate in order. How many people die from a car crash? How many people die from a car crash? What, 50,000, 35,000, something like that? The vast majority, I don't know how old these people. I would assume the vast majority are young because they're probably commuting to work. It's just, it's sad, So, and then never mind that. Just how about if you're just your white? Like I was talking to this guy today. He's a CPA by trade, as a matter of fact, and we're just talking about estate documents and stuff, and just kind of shooting the crap. And I told him about my client because he's actually, should I go to Vanguard or should I go to Fidelity? I said the problem with, and he deals with some pretty high net worth people. He says he had an estate planning attorney that he knew as a friend. He goes, man, I was trying to settle this like $12 million estate, and Vanguard was a pain in the ass to work with. It was just nightmare. Like Vanguard is just a nightmare. And I said, I said, well, my thing is with Vanguard is I did a video on this a year ago, as a matter of fact, when the husband died at 62, the wife was 54, and Vanguard gave her the options of how to take a distribution from the IRA. And unfortunately, one of the options was roll it into her name as opposed to just leaving it in his name, because if it's inherited, you don't have a penalty on it because cause of death. But if you roll it to your own IRA, guess what? You do have a 10% penalty because she's under the age of 59. And Vanguard said, we told her, we gave her the options. I said, no, you didn't give her the options. I said, fix it. You didn't do it right. You did it wrong, man. She goes, and they said, we can't fix it. I said, man, this is crazy. Well, we gave her the options. I said, no, you guys have more of an obligation to say, hey, this is what happens. You don't just lay it out and say, you can roll it to your IRA, you can leave it in his. Anyway, so the point being was that really annoyed me. And we got on the horn. And the guy was, he wasn't mean or anything. I wasn't mean to him. I was like, dude, I was mad. I said, come on, man. You're the custodian of the accounts. You have to have a more knowledge of this stuff than just some freaking. When should you update your will? Right here. So I'm just highlighting some of these things here. How often should I update my will, says Kirk? Yeah, I haven't updated mine, since we had written it in 2017. So it was going on 7 years. And by the time my youngest, who's 17 now, 17, 16. How old is he? 16. Wait, no, how the hell old is he? He said, 16. By the time he's 18, he'll no longer be the age minority, and as such, he will no longer have a custody. We don't need guardians and custodians and all that. So we'll probably update it once my children are all adults, because we do have guardianships and whatnot, and it's fine. So I'll probably update it then at that stage. And if you live in a different state, you definitely want to move. If you've changed states, you definitely want to update your will and stuff. Kirk just lives in Oregon, so I don't know. You probably don't need to update it all the time. But remember, just a codicil is just a change of a will, so not a big deal to update it. Or if you have a living trust as an amendment to it, not a huge issue. But generally speaking, if you're one of your kids is married to a scumbag, we want to update it so that the daughter doesn't inherit some money and then turn around, unfortunately, give it to the scumbag. Vanguard customer service is very poor in my experience. Been very pleased. Yeah, that's what I told this guy. I said, man, I got a lot of clients who are just happy with Fidelity. I got Schwab. I've never had to call them, but Schwab seems pretty good. And you can get. I told this guy, so you can get Vanguard. I don't know if you can get Vanguard Admiral shares at Schwab. I don't think you can, but you can get the ETFs at Schwab. All right, so let's see what else we got. Michael says, how's the book coming along? It's good. How's that Duncan Noah say? As a matter of fact, working on it. working on the reverse RMD book. I was using the Craig Israelson stuff, and I was getting in an issue. So I had to email Craig. I was like, for some reason, it wasn't letting me change the CPI, the inflation numbers. I wasn't sure why. And so I asked him if there's any like kink in the armor for that or whatnot. Because I wanted to. What I was trying to do is, I'm trying to do reverse RMD. So instead of doing a CPI or a 3% inflation, I was hoping to do a negative 2% or something like that, or something like that. And I'm not sure I can. But that didn't take, and so I went back to put 3% inflation, then I put 5% inflation, and now the numbers changed. I don't know. Actually, let me just see if that's changed here real quick. I just want to yapping here. Let me just go real quick. Yeah, so I got so I'm using a 4% inflation, and okay, it looks like that might have now changed. I wonder if there's a kink in the armor. Now I'm going to change it to a 5% inflation. Hang tight. 5. All right. Hang tight, ladies and germs. Hang tight. Hang tight. It's thinking. Okay, it looks like that did change, I think. Let's see, it didn't change there. Why? Oh, that's weird. I'm going to do a 6%. Hang tight. I just want to see if it's changed. Some of it changes, but other parts don't. Yeah, that didn't change. Yeah, so it's weird. So I put a different inflation number in there. It didn't change anything. That's strange. And if I put CPI in there, it changes it back. That's not what I want. Yeah, that's strange, man. Why does it do that? Put 5% inflation there. Yeah, see, it's weird. It changes. It does change, but everything else just doesn't make any sense to me. So I still got 35.8. I still got that. Yeah, so there's something not quite. I'm doing something wrong. I don't know what I'm doing. But anyway, that's so I'm hoping Craig can fix that, or if I'm making a mistake, I'd like to be pointed out to. But it's coming good, man. It's coming good. I like doing it. It's fun. I enjoy it very much. Michael says, do you think the recent good run of the market is tied to optimism that Trump is hoping to win? Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with the political landscape. Not at all. I don't think it has anything to do with the political landscape. All right, so what else here? Do you know if the bank trust departments are good investment choices for trust services combinations, or the funds they use too expensive? Yeah, so I've never been a big fan of bank trust departments, and the only reason because when I first started, so I was working at Vanguard for a couple years, and I worked at Schwab for a couple years, and then we moved back to Virginia, and I worked at a bank, the First Union Bank. It's like a platform rep, and our trust guys were you want to kick them in the ass. They're just so. It was just a waste of time. It was a waste of space. These guys didn't work very hard. It's like, because there's no need to, you know what I'm saying? Especially if that irrevocable trust. Trying to break an irrevocable trust, that if the trust document is very explicit, like this trust is irrevocable, the trustee shall not be changed. And a lot of trusts said, I don't know if they still do that anymore, but so just think, if you're the trustee, in this case, First Union Bank, and you're managing money for Mrs. Smith, in irrevocable trust, and it says explicitly in the trust that the trustee should not be changed, the only way to change the trustee is going to court, have a court order. The courts aren't that inclined to do that. They're not that inclined to do it. So now you're the trust department, like, yeah, we'll take care of Mrs. Smith when we want to get rid of Mrs. Smith. When we want to take care of Mrs. Smith. I remember to get this guy who come in, it just not very impressive guy, and he's just kind of sitting on his butt. This is just my experience now. Doesn't mean they're all like that, but it wasn't cheap either. So I imagine the banks are probably using ETFs, Boss Tweed. I can't imagine they're using expensive mutual funds, because there is a right here. There is a cottage industry coming up nowadays about trust departments being sued and attorneys being sued in the estate planning realm. So I can't imagine they're going to charge an arm and a leg for the funds they have. They're just going to charge an arm and a leg for the fee. Now, is it worth it? It really depends, man. It depends. If you got a large estate and you got a bunch of ne'er-do-wells, yeah, it probably is worth it. If you got a small estate and you don't have a bunch of ne'er-do-wells, probably not. It really depends, though. I found it to be, if you're leaving your wife, let's say your wife is 22 years old and you're 75 years old, and she's hanging out with surfer dudes. You probably want the trust to make sure she doesn't get the money outright. You see what I'm saying? The one thing you got to remember is you got to be careful, and this is kind of being silly, but in a way it's not. Remember, if you have beneficiaries and whatnot, and your money goes to beneficiaries, that is now the beneficiary's money. They can do whatever the hell they want with it. You see what I'm saying? So if if you leave to freaking Missy, and Missy's out there running and gunning with freaking crackheads, and you die, Missy gets the money, and guess what? She's going to leave the money. She's going to spend the money with her crackhead friends. I mean, it happens all the time. There's not a damn thing to do about it. So that's one of the benefits of having a trust. You say we're going to protect Missy from herself, and also we're going to protect my assets from going to crackhead Bob. We don't want crackhead Bob getting the money. And that's what you do with a trust, is that you set that up so Missy can't screw it over for sure. But if Missy's freaking, kicking ass and taking names, yes, leave the money to Missy. Now, if Missy's incapacitated or if there's special needs on that, it's again, different story. We don't want Missy to get the assets for sure, and that's a trust. So the question is, who should be the trustee? And that's, is it going to be your uncle? Is it going to be your nephew? Do you have a guy who knows what the hell he's doing? A guy who's patient enough to deal with this, who can deal with the family dynamics of like saying, hey, Missy, I'm not giving you your $50,000 for a new car. I'm not doing that. Your dad did not want that to happen, and Missy hates you. She's like, you don't know. I'm not giving you, $10,000 for a sleeve tattoo for you and your freaking 3 friends who are in bands who are just using you. But they're in a band. They love me. They love you for the money. The minute you no longer have money, they're freaking dropping you like a hot potato. No. And then you got to deal with Missy, calling you and saying, oh, yeah, you don't want to do that. But I mean, if it's, but again, everything is different. Fun guy. That's great. Great to know. They're a fun guy. Fun guy's telling us he likes to get in comfy clothes and relaxing on the couch. Okay. Good part. Good. That's good. We're happy to see that at least you have clothes on. Yeesh. A wise friend of mine, says Stephen Hawking's. Wise friend of mine shared that when struggling with putting a will together, to write your own obituary, and the answers always become crystal clear. Yeah, that's a good point, man. Good point. I love HSA Fidelity. I'm not sure if I prefer Fidelity or Schwab, when I may eventually move my Roth, my 403Bs. Yeah, I mean, I have Schwab and I've had no problem, but I just know that a million people have Fidelity, and I've never heard hardly any bad stuff on that. Yeah, I think fun guy, Q Humor is right. I think the market thinks the Fed will cut interest rates and small caps are going up. I don't know about that. Small and mid caps, I'm not sure if that's, I just don't pay any attention to it. But I think you're probably right. I think that the Fed thinks the days of high inflation are over. And the interesting thing of that is, when I'm working on this book, I'm noticing that there's one, I don't think I can show it to you actually. Let me see if I got it up here. There is one, now we're going to Pablo. There's one scenario in here. I gotta go over here. Hold on. Detailed analysis. Hang tight, ladies and germs. Hang tight. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get it off the fly. There's one scenario that is very interesting. Your ability to leave money at your death is low in the low interest rate environments and high in the high interest rates environments. Very interesting. I've seen this. I was like, wow, I would have thought the time frame from the 60s, 70s, and 80s would be worse because high inflation, high interest rates, than the time frame from the aughts and going into 2024. And it's just the exact opposite. It's like this bell curve, like this right here. You'll see in the Great Depression, you don't leave much money, all the way up in here until about 1996. You leave money. It's very, very interesting. I said, wow, which shows me that low interest rates. I know a lot of people think low interest rates are good. And I'm not disagreeing with that, but in terms of retirement planning, the facts are, at least the portfolios that I've been running with the reverse RMD and stuff, the higher the interest rates, the higher the amount of money left to the heirs. Very interesting. I mean, so we go from 1996 right here to 2024, 19 or whatever it is, those years, and it is very. That's the least amount of money left. In fact, the worst scenario was from 1996 to 2022. I think that was worse than 1929 to 1954, whatever it was. Isn't that crazy? You think 1929 would be the worst? Nope. 1996 to 2022, whatever it was. I was like, damn, I was surprised by that. Just surprised by that. So a lot of people think low interest rates are the cat's meow. I don't know. Not, I'm talking about taking money out. I mean, in terms of just growth, maybe. But when you're pulling money out, man, higher interest rates are a wonderful thing. But Josh, interest is now the heaviest thing on inflation, or it's the heaviest thing on our line item on our government spending. Yeah, guess who's getting the interest? We are. We are, baby. It's coming. The government is taking the debt and giving it to us. I don't get why people think that's so bad. Because the government's never going to pay off the debt. Yeah. When has the government ever paid off debt? Ever. Ever. Now, I don't know if you're on my email list, but I showed you the other day. I sent an email out. Now, I also want to talk about another thing about Trump's tax cuts on Social Security, because this I forgot. It's kind of pissing me off, too. People are negative on Trump. The people who should not be negative on Trump are like, oh, Trump, we can't have this tax cut. Anyway, so on, what the hell was I talking about? Oh, like Japan. So Japan's had over 200% debt to GDP for the last, 10, 15 years. Right? And everyone says, well, Japan's different. They have a higher savings rate. I don't know what the Japan Social Security numbers are. I can almost guarantee you, and I was going to do a video on this. I'm going to research it today. I got caught up. But I guarantee you their Social Security payment isn't nearly as high as us. And people are like, well, savings, investment, that's what creates, what do they say? Savings and investment is what creates growth. I said, really? Investment? So if Warren Buffett had to pay a little bit more in taxes, Warren Buffett is not going to be able to invest, huh? Well, he won't be able to invest as much. Oh, okay. So what was the impetus for Twitter, for Google, for Amazon? Was it government money, probably sponsored by the CIA? Some seed money there? Oh, yes, it was. You think AI Peter Thiel was just investing for AI? You don't think the government is involved in something like that, some investing? Yeah, there's a lot of money, that's a lot of seed capital that goes from the government to some of these startups. And these government facilities make sure these startups prosper, by the way. So you're going to tell me that Amazon, Jeff Bezos' dad or Bill Gates' dad loaned him $300,000. I can't remember. Maybe it was Bezos. Just out of nowhere, Bezos' dad said, "Here's $300,000. Now Bezos is worth $200 billion, whatever the hell he is." And you're going to tell me that had nothing to do with some government spending? No, I'm sorry. So you're not going to tell me that a little bit higher tax on these multi-billionaires is going to reduce our investment. But it's your savings rate, Josh. Japan has a higher savings rate. Yeah, they better have a higher savings rate because their Social Security is lower than ours. I know for a fact England's is way low. Canada is way low compared to us. So if we're talking about savings rate in terms of funding retirement, yeah, damn right you better have a higher savings rate because you're not as wrong. Your Social Security isn't going to give you as much as ours does. So you better have a higher savings rate. If you're talking about savings rate for creating investment, I'm like, okay, that's just, give me a break. That's just dumb. Oh, so we had high taxes back in the 50s. Significantly high taxes, but there's no savings being done, no investment being done. We didn't have any capital structure of a savings and investment being done with high taxes in the 50s and 60s. I mean, massive. 70% was the upper top of the marginal tax bracket. But no one's investing because high taxes. Okay, so that's not really true now, is it? That's not really true. So stupid, man. Drives me up the wall. Anyway, so they're going to say Japan has but anyway, so Japan's debt to GDP has been over 200% for over 15 years now. And guess what? The yen just took off like a bat out of hell just the other day. Well, why did that happen? I thought if you have a debt to GDP over 200%, you're doomed, I tell you. Doomed. And they're running deficits as far as the eye can see. Oh, you know who had a low debt to GDP? This is what I talk about in my email. The lowest of the big countries was Germany. Germany has like a 68% debt to GDP, about half of what we have. What's Germany's economy doing? Oh, it sucks. It's basically in recession right now. I wonder why. Oh, because the pricing of energy is so high because they're idiots in the freaking green parties controlling their ability to produce electricity, never mind just energy as a whole. And they're like, so their hands are, they're up against the wall, Germany. Just a fact. So their debt to GDP is low and their economy sucks. That's just all there is to it. Japan's debt to GDP is high and their economy is doing much better than Germany. Our debt to GDP is moderately high and we're doing better than Germany. Oh, what happened in the 70s for the US with debt to GDP? Oh, right. Our debt to GDP was like 30% in the 70s. And everyone looks at the 70s as a massive amount of growth, don't they? They saw the 70s was such a great year for growth. It tore off like a bat out of hell. No one says that. But our debt to GDP was low. Crazy. And then Reagan started spending money like a crazy man to fight the communists, which was good. Debt to GDP started going up. Debt started going up. And what happened? The economy exploded from 82 to 99. Ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. Yeah, weird how the debt to GDP doesn't necessarily determine all this other stuff. Inflation doesn't determine growth, doesn't determine investment and savings and all that. Weird how that works. But we're going bankrupt. We can't pay these bonds. And I say that, like, people say, well, Japan owns their own bonds. So I was reading this article. Some guy said, I could not believe this. I mean, some like legit guy. I forgot who he was. I could not believe what he was writing. I said, dude, are you like, what the hell? I was like, he's like, well, Japan owns their own debt. I said, well, who owns our debt? Oh, United States. We own the vast majority of our own debt. Crazy. So when we have debt, we issue bonds, we're paying ourselves the interest. Crazy. Crazy. And yet the government is still out there to able to issue debt. In fact, 10-year Treasury right now, let's take a gander, right? Because they haven't lowered interest rates. Remember, the Federal Reserve doesn't have any control so much on 10 and 30-year bonds. So let's just take a look at the 10-year Treasury. Let's see what we got. What's the yield on the 10-year Treasury? Because we got tons of debt. No one's going to want to buy our bonds. Oh, my goodness. The 10-year Treasury, the yield is 3.77. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense at all. In fact, if we look at that. A year ago, the yield was right there, over 5%. It's gone down to 130 basis points over a year, and yet we've issued massive amounts of debt. Maybe it's time to change our economic thinking on this, because a 10-year Treasury, what does that show you? The yield goes inversion to the price, all right? So the price is jumping up, the yield's going down. That means people are buying the bonds. Crazy, crazy. Let's look at the 30-year Treasury. Because, oh, well, that's just a 10-year, Josh. No one's going to want to lock in their money for 30 years. Let's take a gander, shall we? Let's take a gander at the 30-year Treasury. Oh, my goodness, the 30-year Treasury. This is locking up your money with a 30-year government bond. Well, holy smokes, Josh. Look at that, 4.05 is the yield. And right there is 5 1/8. So the 30-year Treasury has dropped by 100 basis points. That's 20% over the last year, even though the massive amount of debt has increased because of deficits. Crazy. And the Federal Reserve hasn't lowered interest rates. So what's the cause of that? I don't know. It just tells me people are buying up the debt. And if they were buying up the debt, they must be really, really dumb, because they're buying up the debt and there's no way the U.S. is going to pay it off. So how are they buying up the debt? Why would they buy up the debt? Because they're like, it's pretty attractive relative to anything else I could get, at least a portion of my portfolio. And everyone's like, they're going to monetize the debt. I always say, explain exactly what that means, monetize the debt. Inflate the currency. Explain what that means exactly, inflate the currency. What does all this mean? Like, how do they do that? Explain what that means. No one knows. Everyone's like, it sounds so smart. I'm so smart. They're going to monetize the debt. What does that mean? No one knows. They're like, what are they going to do? They're going to change currencies. They're going to say, okay, we're no longer issuing dollars. Now we're going to issue pesos. It's going to be the Iraqi dinars, and now it's going to be whatever it is. They're going to tie the currency to the Japanese yen. That's what they're going to do. I mean, give me a break. I just get so sick of these doomsayers. They're like, I don't know, the debt. There's so much. I'm like, yeah, who's receiving the benefits of that debt? It's you and me who owns government debt. You and me, baby. And I'd much rather have the federal government in debt and paying me money than me in debt and paying them money for sure. So they can all kiss my big fat vape king who likes to vape. Charles Schwab is my primary trust account, but I also use Fidelity. Both been good. Right on. My sister passed away. She had Ed Jones accounts, very easy to work with. Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's one of the benefits of a non-DIY firm. Ed Jones has skin in the game. Because literally they want the heirs to keep the money at Ed Jones, if that makes sense. And absolutely, they're going to work with you to make sure the money stays. Vanguard doesn't care. I mean, look, I'm not saying they're mean. They have no skin in the game. They're like, dude, we're not making hardly any money from you anyway. That's probably ultimately why it makes sense to be a Fidelity Schwab or Ed Jones or a brokerage firm, because they want you to keep the assets there. Vanguard, they don't care. They're like, hey, dude, whatever, man. And I don't blame Vanguard. I mean, I'm just saying that's the nature of the beast. Is Ed Jones has incentive for there. Good, David Smith. Thanks for getting over. Hey, right on. Oh, right here, dude. This guy, well, he said I can talk. So, well, he's already saying this. This guy, David, is a miracle. He recovered basically from ALS. Tell me that's not crazy. He recovered from ALS. David did. Crazy. We had a good conversation with David today. A lot of fun. Dave's crushing. I'm going to interview him one day and just tell him so you can see how he recovered from it. Let's just put it this way. The allopathic medicine didn't help him. It was naturopathic medicine that did. I'll leave that for you. Yeah, I think Fidelity. I don't know. I disagree, Jill. I mean, Jill's saying Fidelity seems a bit more leftist. The Johnson family owns Fidelity, and they're not leftist. Isn't it Woody Johnson, the guy who's the owner of the Jets, and he contributed to Trump? I don't know about his daughter, Abby Johnson. I don't know, but the Johnson family certainly isn't leftist. Schwab is based out of San Francisco, where Fidelity is based out of Boston. I think Schwab is a hell of a lot more leftist. And Schwab, isn't it funny how Schwab has his daughter kind of in charge, and then Fidelity has his daughter in charge? I just find that funny. And Schwab's daughter, Carrie Pomegranate, something like that, she big lip, big. And I don't know about Abby Johnson. I don't know. She probably is too, but I haven't. But I know Schwab's daughter, big lip. I think her name's Carrie Pomegranate, something like that. And yeah, so when it comes to the woke agenda, I can almost guarantee Schwab pushes it more than Fidelity. Schwab's in San Francisco. Boston is obviously cuckoo for Cuckoo Puffs too, but I just think at the end of the day, the Johnson family controls Fidelity, not publicly traded. Schwab is publicly traded, and they're going to have board of directors. You know how it is, man. You know what's going on here. I like my, oh boy. I like my state attorney. She was a former CIA agent, not a field agent, but I love when she explained how to fire a shoulder surface to air missile. That's funny. Well, she's working with CIA, just like Bill Buckley, man. So she's going to be like, she'll be like, she's like monitoring your accounts, man. I don't know if I can. Anyway, there's a story I'd love to share. I'm not sure I can, so I'm not going to say anything. It's crazy. You just got to watch yourself. Watch yourself. Inflation will get back to 2 before year end if they cut rates and people before year end if they cut rates and people mistake. Go wait. I don't get it. Why would inflation go back to 2 if they cut rates? I'm not sure I'm following you there. Our Craig software is awesome. I'm loving trying all the scenarios, the percentage of fixed. Yeah, that's fantastic. The only question I have is I can't change that CPI. I don't get it. Yeah, 100%, man. 100%, Kirk. Look at Fun Guy. Sitting on the couch without his pants on, but he's still getting 5% on cash. Yep. I tell you, all these people like, oh, the Fed, blah, blah, blah. Like, you're benefiting from it, man. Take the W. Take the W. When you're getting 5%, like I did the video yesterday, what a guy had $500,000 in a savings account, $1 million in the Vanguard Balance Fund. Vanguard Balance Fund is yielding 2%. He's making, what is it, $20,000 or whatever it is. 2.5. He's making $25,000 on that. Making $25,000 on his $500,000 in a savings account. Crazy. Look at Scott. Love the content. Big fan. Have you ever done a video on infinite banking? Yeah, I'm not a big fan of infinite banking. Not at all. I find it, if you don't fund your life, this is the thing that ticks me off, Scott. If you look, I'm a big fan of whole life insurance. I got a guy right now, one of my old friends from high school. It kind of ticked me off. He's got one of these Gerber policies, Gerber, whatever the hell it is, and he thinks he's going to get $50,000 in cash value after 18 years, paying $33 a month. I said, dude, you're not getting that. It's a death benefit. And Gerber, whatever it is, they say, we love having access to our cash value. So this guy was convinced, and he still probably is, because he knew me in high school. I wasn't the brightest bulb. So he's probably like, I don't trust, that's fine. I'm like, dude, you're not getting $50,000 of cash after 18 years at $33 a month. That'd be like a 17% rate of return. It's not happening. But he said, look what they said. They said, how much do you want as protection amount? And protection amount, of course, is death benefit, but he didn't see it like that. And then underneath that, they say they have, Joni from freaking Wichita saying, I love having access to my cash value. So he's saying how much you want as protection, and then seeing the word cash value. So he's commingling that to say you're going to have $50,000 of cash value. I'm like, oh my goodness. No, you're not. You're not going to have $50,000 cash value. The insurance industry is the biggest error. By the way, Dustin's not joining us tonight, just in case you're late coming. Dustin had to take care of a client died, and his wife needs some help trying to figure out the estate and all that. So you can jump off. You wait for Dustin to join. He's not. Oh, you're misleading. You're a propagator of misinformation. If you're in England, we'd put you in jail. Hi. Hi. You just checking me out? You just want to make sure I'm okay? Finn, he's like, I'm going to protect you, Dad. I'm going to protect you. Oh, there goes that guy. There's Finn. Here comes the other guy. Where'd the other guy go? Oh, there's the other guy. Can't see him. Anyway, I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, yeah. So I love whole life insurance. But the thing with whole life insurance is you got to fund that puppy on the front end when you're young with lots of cash value. These guys are saying you can do 55 years old and get infinite banking. Hey, come here. Oh, what? 55 years old and get infinite banking. Like, where's the cash value come from? I mean, you got to put a crap load of money in there to do that. And you're not and then if you got commissions involved, which they all have, there's no cash value growth for the first 10 years at all. In fact, I'll say this story until I'm blue in the face. When we were doing this 4, 5, 6 years ago, we had a rookie life insurance guy on here. He goes, no, you're getting 6%. That's a credit. That's the interest rate. I said, no, it's not the interest rate. That's a crediting rate. And then after you factor in the cost of everything, your crediting rate basically is zero for the first 10 years. And I said, get an in-force illustration. What's your guaranteed cash value after 10 years? Guaranteed. I said, I guarantee it's not 6%. It won't be $160,000. So if you had $100,000 in there, I guarantee your cash value after 10 years is not $160,000. And of course, he was right. I mean, it's not. It's like $100,000. He goes, well, in 20 years. I said, okay, what's your cash value in 20 years? I guarantee it's not $220,000. I guarantee it's not. And of course, I was right. Because the crediting rate, the 6%, whatever it is they're offering, is just basically the nominal rate. You factor in the cost to do the business, the cost of insurance, all the other crap costs that go with it, never mind the commissions. You're not getting that 6%. It's just not happening. And so what happens with whole life insurance is that you have to really start young, like a Roth IRA, to really see the benefit, 40 to 50 years down the line. You have to, especially in the lower interest rate environment that we've been in for many, many years. Now, I love whole life. I got 2 whole life policies on each of my kids. Love them. I would have done a whole life policy. I should have done a whole life policy when I was 40 years old. I got my long-term care policy. I got my second to die policy back then when I was young. I should have done one, but I was just worried about cash flow because the problem with whole life policies is it's a unilateral contract. That means you don't have to keep up your end of the bargain. The insurance company does as long as you do. But if you don't keep up your end of the bargain, i.e., you don't pay the premium that's determined, then the whole thing is the contract is null and void at that stage. The insurance company says, hey, you didn't keep up your end of the work, so I'm not saying we can do whatever we want, but basically we don't have to show, the numbers that we showed you are no longer legitimate because you did not keep up your end of the bargain. And you're always got a reason not to fund your whole life policy with $2,000 a month that's required. And you always got a reason for that. So anyway, I find the infinite banking to be silly on many occasions. Again, if you can fund that sucker young, dude, I'm all for it, 100%. 100%. And we're talking whole life. We're not talking universal life. Not just FYI, universal life, the risk is on you, right? Whole life is the risk is on the insurance company. You say, I need $500,000 of cash value, 40 years from now. I'm 28 years old. I'm in good shape. What do I got to do to get that with the minimal death benefits possible to make sure the contract's not what's called a MEC, modified endowment contract, and they'll come up with a number for you. And then that money, absolutely, you can borrow against the whole thing. Oh, by the way, the idea that Walt Disney, his whole life insurance is what allowed him to start Disney is such a fraud, dude. I hear these things all the time. Well, Walt Disney, he had whole life insurance allowed him. He was raising funds, and some of the funds he could get access was his whole life policy. It wasn't much. Because he's raising funds, and the whole life policy was a small portion of the funds he raised. But all these insurance guys, well, how do you think Walt Disney started Walt Disney? Yeah, okay. Whole life was a tiny fraction of the cash he was able to raise, but it wasn't not even close to the bulk of it. So I don't know if you were here, Marie, but we said Dustin isn't joining us tonight. Sorry. Why would I ever yell at Marie? Marie, I don't yell at you. That's why you got the wrench thing. Yeah, I think you're right, Ted. I think probably 3.5 is as low as they're gonna be going anytime soon. 100%. Yeah, 100%. Portfolio allocation feels a lot easier when you get 5% of your cash bucket. 100%. Absolutely. Debt clock is totally fake. Totally fake. I mean, it's not fake. It's a way to get you scared. Like, oh, look, I used to fall for this stuff too. I'm a big fan of Jesse Helms. Love Jesse Helms. You know what I'm saying? But because he was, one of the people who talk about the debt clock all the time. Just turns out to be a joke. It's just a joke. I mean, this is when Jesse Helms was in office, like in the 80s. The debt clock, oh my goodness. And just like, okay, well, we had, I mean, I think when Reagan started, I can't remember off the top of my head, I don't even think we had $1 trillion of federal debt. Now we got 35 trillion, 40, who knows what the hell's going on. I mean, look, I'm not saying this is going to end well. I don't know. I just don't know. But at the end of the day, every single economy out there has got massive amounts of debt. Every single major economy is running deficits. None of these things are happening. It just has happened. The only economies that are not running deficits are economies you don't want to touch with a 10-foot pole. Yeah, no, Schwab's got a money market account. I mean, I got the Schwab money market account. It's paying like 4.8, 4.9. Here's Martin. WEP. I hate WEP. WEP is bad. So basically, my Social Security is deducted because police pension, 100%, even though I paid it. Yeah, so basically your WEP, the max they can take, I want to say it's $555. The max. If you had another 10 years of earnings, Social Security earnings, then you would have no WEP. But yeah, was it 30? Yeah, I think you have to have 30 years of Social Security earnings not to have any WEP. But yeah, you're going to lose about $500 or so. The max again is about 555. Might be a little bit more this year, but roughly 555 for your windfall elimination provision for sure. That's just fact. And you won't get any survivor benefit if your wife died and will leave you her Social Security. 2/3 of her Social Security of your, what do they say? Is it 2/3 of your pension is reduced for your Social Security? Not your pension is reduced, but they take 2/3 of your pension away. I can't remember, but it's like 2/3 of whatever your pension is offset by your Social Security. So if your Social Security that you get from your wife is $1,000, this is called GPO, and your pension is $3,000, you would lose entirety everything from Social Security, because 2/3 of your pension is basically $2,000. Your wife's Social Security was $1,000, and as such, you'd lose the entirety because your 2/3 of your pension is worth more than the wife's benefit. I'm screwing that up, but just GPO is a mofo. WEP, at least you know the max you're going to lose about $550. Anyway, so just along those lines of Social Security, all these idiots, well, we can't reduce tax on Social Security because it'll hurt the system. I'm like, huh. Not only do we not pay tax, we pay tax on our own Social Security contributions. That's just a fact. And as the employer as well, I pay tax on that Social Security contribution for my employee, which is me. So I pay tax on both sides. Now I get to deduct my taxes, all right, from the amount I pay as the employer. That's just a fact. Remember, a deduction is always worse than a credit. You always want a credit. A credit reduces your actual tax, whereas a deduction just reduces your taxable income. It's a completely different thing. Pablo, that's loud. So anyway, so just say, for instance, I got $100,000 of income. My Social Security I pay to Josh is just say $15,000. Pablo, stop. Hey, no, you're too loud. Stop. So now my taxable income is $85,000. All right. But I still have to pay $15,000 of money out of my pocket. My taxable income is $85,000. All right. But I'm still, that's not a dollar for dollar reduction in my taxes, not by any stretch of the imagination. So even though I got to deduct it, it's not nearly as beneficial as not having to pay it at all. All right, so long story short, I don't get to deduct it off. I got to pay income tax on my gross money. That's the money I pay even on my Social Security. I still got to pay income tax on my Social Security contributions. It's just a fact. All right, so my employer's he gets a deduction, and I don't pay any tax on that. So you can make an argument that 50% of your benefits should be subject to taxation. But then my argument goes like this. I forgot to say this in my video the other day. Gab? Is that I've been working, like my first Social Security contribution was in 1984 when I was 14 years old, 1983. So by the time I'm 65, I'll have put money into Social Security from I'll be 65 in 2035. Yeah. That'll be 2035. Oops. 2035 minus 1984, we'll say. I would have put money into Social Security for 51 years. How much of my Social Security benefit is based on how many of those years? It's based on 35 of those years. That means 16 of those years, well, I zeroed out. I pay taxes into Social Security, and I get nothing from a Social Security benefit off that. Nothing whatsoever. None. So all the extra 16 years of income, Social Security tax is just gone. It's just gone from my benefit. It's just fact. It's how Social Security system works. So all these people say, yeah, but Josh, you're only, blah, 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 blah. These idiots who say you should have to pay Social Security taxation because you didn't have to pay tax on your employer contribution. The money was growing tax deferred, blah, 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 blah. Like, yeah, but how would all the other money I pay tax on? That money's just gone with the wind. You know what I'm saying? And so that's another argument against these people who say, we should tax Social Security benefits. And the only reason they're saying we should tax Social Security benefits because they say it'll hurt the system if we reduce taxes on Social Security. No one on the right wing ever says it'll hurt the system if we reduce taxes on anything else. They don't ever say it'll hurt the system if we reduce taxes on corporate benefits. They never say that. They'll never say it'll hurt the system if we reduce all these subsidies, as a matter of fact. It's only Social Security. And they can all kiss my big fat behind. They all moved back to the U.S. after World War II. The Krauts were smart. Well, that's Operation Mockingbird right there. Or Operation Paperclip. Maybe it was Operation Paperclip when they brought back the Nazis to start NASA. What's his name? Freaking the guy. Oh my, oh my goodness, Werner von Braun, Nazi, and we brought him in the United States to run our NASA program. NASA with two S's, NASA, if you know what I'm saying. That's NASA. Nazis love them some NASA. Let's see. But they're already printing money. I mean, that's monetize the debt, print money. That's what they're doing already. So what they're going to print. I mean, so when they say monetize the debt means print money, explain that. How's that any different what's happening right now? I mean, literally, that's what they're doing right now. They're printing money. I mean, they're not literally printing money like that. It's literally computers, but that's what's happening now. So monetize the debt. They're going to print more money. Yeah, I'm not sure I'll be in Indianapolis. That's a good idea. I got a lot of Indiana clients and folks I like talking to. That'd be a good one. I mean, I'm going to Cleveland, and I got a better than I thought turnout so far. Not much, I mean, but better than I thought, and it'll be a lot of fun. And it was a good place to practice my skill set because I haven't done a live seminar in a long time. It was good. It'd be a good time, and then I will take it on the road. Just got to talk to the old lady about when's the best time to do that, but I'm definitely going to take it on the road. Yeah, I don't care about the Fed meeting this week. Sorry. I just don't care. You don't think cumulative inflation is just 3.5%? You don't think cumulative inflation just of 20 hasn't lowered the value of each and every dollar? I don't remember saying that. P. Henry. Recently found your channel. Love what I see so far. Already in the mix of my favorite channels. Well, good. I'm glad you're here. It only took you 7 years, P. Henry. Right on, Mike Scooby. My tax book, sweet. Schwab, yeah, Schwab's in San Fran. There's Diane. I hate that people no talk to me. I'm on your side. I hate that people no talk. I don't know what you're saying, Diane. Put down the wine, Diane. Put down the wine. Let's make sense so we can understand your comment. Love this group. Oh boy. Hold on just a second. Down my biggie. All right. There we go. Love nice, Diane. Just goofing when I said put down the wine. I'm getting 5 1/4 in savings at Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs of cash. I usually do them on Rumble, not from Rumble. I usually do them on my locals channel, But I thought we were going to get Dustin on here tonight, and Dustin could not be here because one of his clients died. And so I figured I'd just keep doing it. But we go Wednesday at 7 p.m. every locals every Wednesday. The last 2 weeks, so I had interviews. One with Craig Israelson last week, and then today I was going to be with Dustin. Hey, look at Vaughn. Take the 5. Yeah, 100%. I agree. Half in Fidelity, half in Vanguard. Whole life equals yuck. Oh boy. Everyone's. Oh boy. I haven't seen a closing. Dustin busy with clients and he's moving. Dustin said the last time we spoke he had hair. So has Dustin lost his hair? I love Tramp. Please be real. No one dies. That's simply not true. This is a big. Let's dispute this real quick. So my man James says, if you're a high net worth individual, you don't need life insurance in many circumstances. Oh, absolutely not. In fact, if you're a high net worth person, you definitely going to need to look at second to die life insurance. All right, that's survivorship life insurance, and what that simply means is it pays out the death of the surviving spouse. And even if you're a single person too, remember life insurance, it creates an immediate estate, immediately a liquid estate. It literally pays out very, very fast. Life insurance is a wonderful immediate liquid estate. So if you have money that needs to be subject, or you have assets that need to be subject to estate tax, and I'm going to do a video tomorrow talk about the new estate tax. If they don't change TCJA, you're looking at estate tax again. It's crazy, man. This is going to be what my man Martin Schenkman said, like a 65% reduction in estate tax exemptions. It'll go back down to 3.5 or something like that. I have to revisit his article about that. And so that might not seem like much, 3.5. That's everything you own, dude, everything you own. And just because that's 3.5 today, they might not even inflate it. Remember, it used to be 675. It wasn't inflated. So now it's well above that. We haven't had to worry about it. But TCJA goes away, as it's going to. The estate tax will be reduced significantly, and it might not be subject to inflation. I'm just telling you right now. And if it's not, you could easily have 3.5 million in 20 years, even if you only got 1.5 million right now, easily. So don't overlook the issue with estate tax. Frankly, to talk about estate tax is fun. I haven't had to do it for so long. So, thanks. Thanks, babe. I haven't had to do it for so long just because there hasn't been any estate tax really to worry about, other than some, Massachusetts, a couple other places. But anyway, so if you're a high net worth people and all your money is in illiquid assets, real estate, IRAs, and you're gonna die, all right. And there's transfer money, just from probated stuff and all kinds of transfer stuff, estate tax. How about if your kids have other issues, or you had other issues, you had obligations that need to be satisfied? Let's say you're trying to leave an apartment, a business complex, and you had debt on it. How's that debt get paid? Because the debt's got to get paid. So you're going to transfer it to your kids, and your kids say, yeah, we got a $5 million business complex, $3 million in debt. The debt's still got to get paid. How do you pay that debt? Kids can sell it. What if the kids don't want us? What if they don't want to run it? There's a million different things that could happen. And I'm not even talking necessarily about estate tax. It's just IRA money. What if everything's in an IRA? That money's got to be taxed, ordinary income. So you have a life insurance policy to pay that tax, to create an immediate liquid estate that can be used to pay estate tax, closing costs, all that stuff. Illiquid assets can be a pain at death, man. And that's what life insurance really can be for high net worth people. The nice thing about survivorship life insurance, especially second to die. Second to die means I have a policy that covers Charlotte and me. It doesn't pay out on the first death. It only pays out on the second death. And what the reason for that is essentially saying, look, at the end of the day, I'll have $1 million IRA and leave it to my 4 kids. They're going to have, that's we'll just say 25% tax due. That's $250,000. I could pay $2,000 a year. A month, excuse me. A year, a month. I can't. Yes, excuse me, a year. We'll say I'll pay $250 a month for the next 30 years. I'll have $500,000 of liquidity upon my death, but it doesn't pay out when I die. It only pays out when Charlotte dies, or if I die second, it will pay out. And my kids have $500,000 of cash value they can immediately use to pay for the taxes if they're going to take that IRA money out and go buy something or whatever they want to do. I don't care. Life insurance is overlooked because a lot of people think life insurance is a scam, and it's not. It's just simply not. And so, for second die life insurance, you definitely don't want term. Term's not what we're trying to accomplish here because we want to make sure that life insurance is there when you die. That's the whole point about it. Well, what I'm saying is what it's, but you're not getting 6%. Again, we just talked about this. You're not getting 6% on the life, but it is still you're getting something. Most wealthy, I don't want to say most wealthy people. I don't know that to be true, but the life insurance agents will love for you to think this is a wealthy man's. I don't buy that for 2 seconds flat, but it can be used very, very well. Yeah, I saw that. It's crazy. Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was crazy. Kamala supporting Sniffy Joe's tax plan. Ooh, that was nuts. So now you're just being silly. You can out earn any future tax liability in the markets, not letting yourself get. Oh, dude, I hate these arguments are so stupid. They're so stupid. Not letting yourself get sucked in insurance vehicles for future taxing. That's a loser's run. All right, whatever, dude. The idea that you can out earn it, that doesn't mean you will out earn it. Oh my goodness. I literally can't understand people who have this mentality. It's a mutually exclusive. I can only do this one thing. I can't do this other thing because the other thing's a loser's game. You're dumb. You're an idiot if you do that. It's just not true. It's just not true. It's if I find it idiotic to make these claims. I really do. It's just like, oh, it's a loser. I mean, first of all, why do you care? I just don't care. It's kind of like people say, I don't care about Trump as they're emailing a million things about Trump. So I thought you didn't care about him. I don't. So why is he like living rent free in your brain? It's like I literally don't care about the WNBA. I don't care about Caitlin Clark. I don't care about Angel Reese. Whatever. I don't comment on. It doesn't matter to me whatsoever. So I never comment on it because I don't care. I don't care about pickleball. It means nothing to me. So I don't comment on it. I don't care. James here is all upset about life insurance, and he wants everybody knows how smart he is by saying how life insurance is so stupid, but yet James says he doesn't care. It's like, well, you obviously do care about life insurance. It's kind of like people say, I don't care about Jesus, and they'll start quoting things from Jesus. I said, I thought you don't care about Jesus. Well, I don't, but I'm an atheist. I said, why are you so interested in him then? Feeling guilty about something? Feeling like you're missing something? What's up? That's what James is like. He's like, look at what he says. You're just a loser. It's a loser if you do life insurance because the markets can outperform it. Yeah, I know. It's crazy to think the markets can, right? I know. Markets can. Many things that can happen. One of my sons can go to Wimbledon. Not likely to happen, but it can happen. So I'm putting all my money on him just in case it happens. I want to make sure I get paid. Kirk is waste of time to argue with those people. Literally, those people want so badly to indict people who have life insurance. It's like I'm telling you, man, it's like atheists. They want so badly to say how stupid everybody else is. It's a strange, strange thing. I've never quite understood. You're so dumb believing in the spaghetti monster in the sky. You're so dumb thinking whole life insurance has any value added. It's a loser's game. Ugh. Yeah, I saw that with Devin. That disappointed me. Werner von Braun, there it is. That disappointed me. The problem is these guys. Like I like Devin, but these guys are just going off this tax foundation thing, and the tax foundation. It's easy to hide behind what was perceived as academics would say. You see what I'm saying? And the academics at the tax foundation are going to say this is bad policy because it hurts Social Security. And and frankly, they're right. It does hurt Social Security a little bit. That's just a fact. I mean, the facts are $50 billion of your taxes are going into Social Security trust fund. That's just a fact. But Social Security paid out $1.6 trillion. Right, so your $50 billion going to Social Security trust fund is just a small potatoes relative to the $1.6 trillion is being paid. So the idea that the taxes that we're paying into Social Security are going to keep it up, what I said, it'd be 2 years earlier, it'll be insolvent. All right, 2 years earlier. All right, so in of itself, this isn't a make or break thing for Social Security. It's just not. There's going to have to be structural changes for Social Security to keep it solvent. So I thought the Tax Foundation, as well as right wingers, would always support tax cuts, always, for the middle class people. And that's what this taxation, getting rid of taxation on Social Security does. It's a tax cut for middle and lower middle class people who are sucked in by the tax torpedo. And the idea that the Tax Foundation is always keen on tax cuts or corporate tax cuts for this, tax cuts for that, but it's one thing they're not, because it'll make Social Security insolvent 2 years earlier. It's the weirdest thing. It's just odd to me. It's just odd. I'm like I said before, it's like, well, you can say that about any kind of tax cut. The days of the Laffer Curve are gone, man. So the idea used to be you could lower taxes and increase revenue to the government. Those days are gone. And the reason that was because the marginal tax rates are so high and affected so many people that inherently, by lowering the marginal tax rates from 70 to 25, I think is what Reagan did. I mean, inherently, that's going to stimulate economic stimulus without question. That's in fact, you can look, and the Stephanie Keltons, the modern monetary theorists, they would love tax cuts. I mean, they don't because they're commies, but they would because that puts money in the hands of the consumer. And so they would love Reagan's tax cuts. They weren't around back then, because Reagan's tax cuts literally can grow the economy because there's more money in the hands of you. That's the same thing with modern monetary theory. They say the government takes the debt, they give it to us, we have more money to spend, which stimulates the economy. And there's, that's demand side economics and whatever. I'm not getting that right now. But at the end of the day, the Tax Foundation, I don't know why they don't say, well, the corporate tax cut, that didn't stimulate the economy. The TCJA, that didn't stimulate the economy to the extent that it was sold to us. And they all fall back with the Laffer Curve. Tax cuts stimulate the economy. Well, that's a one-time deal. When the tax rates are 70% was the effective tax rate on the high end. And by the way, don't forget, Reagan raised taxes under the Tax Reform Act of 1986. He raised them, got rid of a lot of deductions, and the economy is still booming. So the point being is, this is just weird to me that this is the one tax. Oh, I'm like, well, all these other tax cuts, it starves our government money for defense. Don't we want defense to keep our borders safe? Yeah, we do. Well, if we cut taxes on corporates, if we cut taxes here, cut taxes there, all that stuff hurts the economy because we don't have as much money coming in. And then their argument would be, well, but the tax cuts stimulate the economy. Okay, but not for Social Security. That's the one area that tax cuts don't stimulate the economy. And even the Tax Foundation says, well, it does, but just not enough. Okay, so it stimulates the economy, but you're saying it doesn't do it enough. But it's still giving growth to the economy, and net jobs are created according to your stupid work. Yes, that's true. But not as much as corporate tax cuts. No, corporate tax cuts would be more. Really? Where's the evidence of that? Well, I mean, I'd love to see the evidence. And I don't care what the evidence is. I want corporate tax cuts and I want Social Security tax cuts. Actually, I don't really care about corporate tax cuts anymore because corporations can kiss my big fat behind. But generally speaking, yeah, I'm all about lowering individual tax rates, 100%, on middle and lower middle class people, 100%, absolutely. And the reason is because they need that money to freaking live on. One of the things you could do if you're all that worried about corporate America is you could say, we're going to let you, because remember, corporate America, if you want to improve profits and thus improve the economy, is you could let corporate America deduct dividend payouts. Corporate America can deduct interest off their debt. They cannot deduct dividend payouts. That's why dividends are considered double taxation. Because a corporation has to pay tax on the earnings they get in which they pay those dividends out, and then you got to pay tax on the dividends you receive. So they're double taxed. You know, it's not double tax. Oh, the interest money that they pay, that is taxed at deferred. So they are tax deducted. So a corporation can say, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take debt to buy back more shares. That debt is tax deductible, and I reduce the number of shares outstanding. Or I can take profits and pay a dividend. That profits is taxable as income. And then guess who else pays tax on it? You, the receiver of the dividend. You don't pay tax on capital gains, though, until you sell. So the corporation reduces their shares outstanding, it makes the prices go up, generally speaking. You get to keep in that net investment, net unrealized gain until you sell, and then it's only taxed the long-term capital gain. But the corporation didn't pay any tax on the interest because the interest is tax deductible. It's crazy. 1935. Social is that what FDR said or something like that? Did FDR say that then? Devin doesn't think it was designed to keep people out of. He doesn't think he should get millions from Social Security. Is he going to get millions from Social Security? So Devin. So okay. I mean, just think about it, dude. The max you're going to get from Social Security was it? We'll just say for simplicity, $4,800 a month. So $4,800 a month right now. And I'm not going to inflate this. That's $57,000 a year. $57,000 a year. We'll just say you live 20 years. You'd have to live 20 years you'd have to live until you're 90 at the very max to get millions in Social Security, because you got to take it at 70 and you got to live till 90. So you could get a million, but you're not getting millions. That's just not a fact. So I don't get the millions. I know you're paraphrasing them. But I'm sorry, $4,800 a month. Yeah, that's not crushing. That's not killing the Fed, the Treasury. It's just not. $4,800 a month to someone who waited till he's 70 to take Social Security isn't what's killing the Fed Treasury. And neither is supplemental security income at $750 a month for the welfare people either. It's just not. I'm just sorry. When they can cut a check for $200 billion to Ukraine and have all this, we don't know what the hell's going on with their money. I don't want to hear anything about cutting social. I don't want to hear it. I'm just like, I literally don't want to hear about cutting Social Security for people who paid into it under the auspices they're going to get back what they paid into it via a Social Security payment. And again, we have 3 bend points. You're not getting everything you put back into it in terms of what it, I mean, I get you're getting more than what your taxes you paid into it, but your third bend point for the wealthy people is only 15%. So you're not, it's a very progressive benefit payout, 100%. So you're not getting anything near what you could have got if, and I hate to compare because we don't know what the markets would have done if Social Security didn't exist, but just as a side note, you're not getting anything near what you could have got. That's just a fact. So you're not getting millions. You might get a million if you're one of the few people who takes that 70 with a max benefit and survives until you're 9 years old. Yeah, you can make $1 million. That's not breaking the bank of Social Security, not breaking the bank of the federal treasury, not even coming anywhere near that. So people who say, and this actually annoys me about Devin, I didn't know he was saying that, but if people who say we should cut Social Security because it's not meant to keep, is only meant to keep people out of poverty, I say, why are we cutting it? Let's have that discussion once we cut someplace else. How about that? How about that? I'll be going to Texas 100%. Absolutely. Of course, I got to go to New England. I'm a New England boy. And I don't think any plans in Wisconsin there. But I did talk to a guy from Milwaukee today. But maybe actually that guy he's in the know. Maybe I'll go up to Milwaukee and tell my man, hey, he could probably get some clients. He could probably get some people out there for me. Tom Lehrer had a great song on Werner. I'm not familiar with Tom Lehrer. All right. Yeah, right on, Vaughn. I won't. Josh, do you use goals to track large expenses outside of? I don't. Oh, but you could. Yeah, I don't use Right Capital for myself. But yes, you would definitely use goals to track large expenses. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, Roth accounts are absolutely subject to the estate tax. 100%, dude. Yes, they are. Well, if you own it, it's subject to it. To include life insurance, to include Roth IRA. Absolutely. I'm definitely looking at life insurance policy for my heirs. 100%, man. 100%. In fact, we can. You can actually. The nice thing, John Hancock had this. I don't know if they still do anymore. You can actually see the IRR, internal rate of return, on when you died, relative to the payout you get. It's pretty impressive, man. So whoever that guy James who's saying, just don't know what he's talking about. He doesn't because he hasn't been paying attention. So some of these second die policies, when you die. All right, remember, we're talking tax-free as well. Some of those IRRs are impressive. Now, they're not going to give you 12. I mean, you could get 12%, but most likely, if it's a 20 to 30-year policy, you're not going to get a 12% IRR. but you're getting a tax-free IRR like 4.5 to 5. And when you factor your tax equivalent yield, you're getting an IRR like 7 to 8%. And they used to have it right there on the. It was fantastic. I love that. I can say all day long. Look, yeah, you're not going to get 12%, but are stocks giving you 12%? We have. Yeah. Have they? Have they really for the last 15 years? I mean, the last 25 years of this century, have you got 12%? All right. They're Brett. 90,000 married filing joint, max out Roth. I don't have the income max out IRA. Is there a downside of funding bonds to Roth if I don't mind paying the tax? No, I don't like bonds in my Roth because there's not much growth in bonds, but the downside is nothing other than you're not going to get any massive growth. But if that's all you got, a Roth, and yeah, I mean, I got bonds in my Roth right now, bonds, because I think the upside of bonds is still pretty good. All right, so I'm gonna get ready to get out of here. I'm just looking through. I'm getting kind of tired, man. Sweet Ted, I gave Devin when I watched the video about tax and Social Security benefits, life insurance. What number percent? Scott. Never heard of pickleball in my life. When I bought a house in Florida, the owners built this place with a pickleball. Oh my goodness, that's funny. They aren't going to greenlight the tax on Social Security because that means they can't kick that. You missed everything. We already talked about Vernon von Braun. You missed it. Seems like taxation on Social Security is a backdoor to means testing. Yeah, that's right. Penelope here, kicking ass. Kamal is going to save us all. Heals up Harris, 100%. Penelope's bashing on Polvey. That makes me happy. Penelope's bashing on Polvey. Polvey, I got to give you a wrench, man, because you're always here early. Let me know if you want a wrench. All right, so I can get out of here, my friends. Appreciate y'all being here. Dude, we're going to end on this. Yeah, but the TCJA goes away is going to be reduced significantly. I'll do a video on that tomorrow. Why that? Because it's in your estate. That's why. If you own it, it's included in your estate. Your estate is all the things you own. All the things you own. And if you own it, which you do a Roth, it's in your estate. So one of the best ways is to literally, this is why we have life insurance, to create an immediate estate that's liquid that you can pay the estate tax. Again, this isn't a very big deal for vast majority of us right now, but it could be for sure. Yeah, and then if you die today, 100%. So another thing that drives you up the wall is if you do, I enjoyed the deep discussion about Pink Floyd earlier. Oh my goodness, that's too funny. That's right on. Yeah, I'm not going to dye my hair anytime soon. Maybe I'll dye yellow. The chick's like, hi, you're a surfer. But I was going to say, so let's just say the markets are outperforming your life insurance. Now we're March 9th of 2009. I'm just throwing it out there. Do the markets outperform your life insurance? I'm just throwing it out there. You thought you were leaving $1 million estate, didn't you, James? And you had all your stuff in the S&P 500, and you're leaving a $430,000 estate. Kind of crazy. And yet your life insurance, we know exactly what the amount's going to be. We know exactly what it's going to be. Again, I'm not saying it's a great investment. I'm saying it's not bad, but I'm saying it's liquid. You know, for the whole life, you know exactly what it's going to be. And it's tax-free. And you can complement your retirement accounts, your investments. These things, nothing's mutually exclusive in this world, man, other than Kamala and brains. And that's mutually exclusive. You can have Kamala or you can have brains, but you can't have both because that's mutually exclusive. That mutually exclusive means they can't exist together. You know what I'm saying? Kamala, brains don't exist together. Joe Biden, being normal, don't exist together. Joe Biden not liking little girls. They don't exist together because Joe Biden loves little girls. You know what I'm saying? That's just, they don't exist. These are mutually exclusive. Let's see. What else is mutually exclusive? Penelope, and give me any kind of props anytime. Penelope never says nice things about your old buddy Josh. So these things are mutually exclusive because Penelope's always got something, smart aleck remark. And even though she's smart aleck, I still give her the wrench. All right. But these things are mutually exclusive. What else is mutually exclusive? Jill voting for Trump, mutually exclusive, because Jill will never vote for Trump. She's probably not here anymore. All right. Anyway, sorry about what's his name, Dustin. Salt. Oh, there you go. Salt that like, but I like that. Yes, sir. Yeah, fondle of salt. Oh, that's all good. I obliterated the right button, right on. Keep it up. Good stuff. All right, guys. God bless. We'll see you manana. Thanks again.